There's one piece of hardware that matters to me more than anything. The one thing that doesn't change whether you're writing code by hand, authoring a book, or vibing yourself to death with agents. The keyboard is where everything goes through. I want it to be ergonomic, visually nice, comfortable to rest my hands on and type on. I want it to sound great and be ready for every quirk I find with shortcuts, layers, and other stuff. So today I'll show you everything, what I use, how I'm using it with special mounts and cables, from switches, keycaps, angle connectors, and all the way to my configured layers made for Tmux, NeoVim, Airspace, fast typing, and instant navigation. Let's get into it. This is my DeFi, but I'm not here to sell you a specific board. I want to show you a system that can be ported anywhere. There's also a concave shape, which is one of the best things I've added recently. This isn't part of the board itself, but rather a small brand that makes these. They make both the different leg stems that comes in this little box, as well as the keycaps themselves that are shaped to align with my fingers, creating the desired well shape. I battled with this to begin with, but after a year of mileage, I'm never going back. There's a link in the description if you're interested. You can also see the board is tented in 45 degrees angle and also a bit wobbly. We'll get to that. Let's start with a tent setup. The DeFi, like other boards, come with its own tenting legs, and these, how do I put it lightly, are sensitive like my 4-year-old girl. Don't get me wrong, they do work, but after a good year of use, some parts started to get broken. The little side flaps you have to have open were constantly collapsing inwards as I was flicking the board switches, so I glued them, and after a bit more time the rubber worn off, so the board would start sliding ever so slightly. Then, out of the blue, Mikkel from Digma sent an email asking whether I want to give their new articulated arm sets a try, as if he knew. I said sure, send them over, so he did, and they come with these weird looking suction cups that may or may not do a great job, but in practice on my wooden table, they're completely useless. For a while, believe it or not, I worked with them clamped on top of an old MacBook I had to leave on my desk. I even tried painting the wooden top with glossy material to smooth it out, helping with the suction cups, but nothing. There are other great tenting options. Back when I was using the Moonlander, it was their platform that goes right here. Basically 2 large metal racks where the boards are mounted on, which did an amazing job at keeping the angle, but a very bad job at not sliding away from pressure. I added rubber feet and rubber mats, and something always got messed up. And so, just like then, now with the suction cups, another great tenting idea with a massive flaw. But then I noticed the screw hole of the arms going into the suction cups are actually standard size that you get on, well, every photography gear in existence. One in particular called Small Rig, and they have something called a magic clamp. I reinstalled the arms I almost gave up on, which, by the way, are using these tiny screws that get loosened every few weeks. So Digma, if you're hearing me, this is where you want to add some enforcement. And that's why every month my board gets a little wobbly and takes some tightening. Nothing too bad, but it's there. But now, my god, I have never loved a tenting setup so much. The boards are clamped into my desk. Changing their distance is as easy as a small lever turned and sliding them one way or backwards, and then tightening it back. The arm itself has 4 degrees of freedom, making it extremely versatile, so I can literally sit in any way I like, including potentially going full right angle up or even floating away from the desk if that's your thing. So that was perfect, but then something else started bugging me. The DeFi, unlike the Moonlander and much like other boards, actually can work wirelessly. Preferably with this little guy connected on one end to your machine as a transmitter. It can be housed under one of the boards, but then you can't change the config wirelessly. So that was a no-go for me. As you can see, the 2 other ports it has are meant to go to the 2 boards pieces, but what's the point of having a wireless keyboard if you're going to have cables lying around? So I used it wirelessly for a long while, but this board is battery hungry, especially if you use the fancy color patterns. Every other day I had to reconnect it to the Neuron to juice it up, and that was another point I couldn't come to terms with. I'm neurotic, I know, but guess what? I solved that too. It turns out you can just feed power through USB without data, since that's already taken care of by the Neuron. So I kept my board on wireless mode, but still threaded the power cables under the desk and through the clamps and arms to the board. This video is sponsored by CodeRabbit. AI coding tools make it ridiculously easy to generate code, sometimes too easy. You blink and suddenly there's a pull request with 10,000 lines spread across dozens of files, and now someone actually has to review it. The problem is that GitHub normally shows those files alphabetically, which is basically nothing to do with how the change actually works. That's what CodeRabbit's change stack is designed to fix. Instead of making you work through one giant diff, it lays out the PR into logical layers, so you can review the change in the order it actually makes sense. Foundational changes like data models and contracts come first, followed by the code that depends on them. Each layer gets its own AI summary, and when it's useful, CodeRabbit can generate things like sequence diagrams or state machines to help explain what has changed. You open it straight from the code review change stack button inside the pull request. From there, you can move through the layers, leave inline comments on specific lines, and submit your review back to GitHub without leaving the change stack. And because it's opt-in, everyone else on the team can keep using the normal GitHub review experience if they want. If AI is making your pull requests bigger and harder to reason about, ChangeStack gives you a much better way to actually review them. Check out CodeRabbit through the link in the description. Now back to the video. Annoyingly, no manufacturer is making a 180 degrees cable top, so I made my own by taking a right angle cable and adding a right angle connector on both ends. And now plugging in, and I have a seemingly wireless split keyboard tinted just the way I like it, not sliding anywhere, remotely configurable, and it never runs out of juice. That is smooth. Now I can live my life peacefully. This is what a quick typing test looks like. You'll note that the left beat also requires a bit of reinforcement of the screws. It doesn't bother me all that much while typing, but still. Other than that, the angle is perfect, my hands can rest, and the typing experience is fantastic. Oh, and the concave shape I mentioned earlier has been a great help here. Not so much to the typing speed, but rather to reducing the number of mistakes I'm making throughout. Not sure why, but it works and it feels nicer. Okay, physical setup out of the way, time for some configuration. Every board comes with its own app or configuration method. First and foremost, to me, making things more efficient starts with literally finding out what commands I'm typing out most and find a key to automate them. This one I found accidentally when I started using Atuin, no less. You know, the terminal history manager I have quite a lot of videos on the channel. But the interesting bit is that it found out, well, unsurprisingly, that my most used command on the terminal is clear, obviously. But while others have their own key bindings, I have a different setup. The diffie has a very large and easily accessible thumb cluster, so I just assigned a key to clear my screen. A combo that literally prints clear and hits enter, and it works like a charm. My next stop is layers. I'm using 4 layers, but they're not actually 4. The last one is kind of a trick. We'll leave that for later. The second one, much like most split keyboard alternative, is dedicated for symbols on the left and a numpad on the right. Both I use daily. I've set 2 columns of braces pairs aligned with my 2 main fingers, while the curly braces on top and the square brackets are on the bottom. I'm having the standard parentheses on the home row because, sadly, with AI taking so much of my coding away, these are still in use when writing text. For my ring finger and pinky, I have accessible symbols, which 99% of times I actually only use the $, the percentage, and the hashtag. As for the numpad, quite straightforward. I also added some basic calculator operators and a dot to help out with simple math, and that's pretty much it. You'll see some duplications here, like the caret symbol and others. This is done for a good reason and is something I try very hard to set. My keyboard is full of duplications on both sides. I want to be able to hit enter, space, or backspace from both pieces. One hand might be on the mouse or holding a drink. The same goes for all functional keys: Option, Shift, Control, and Enter. Whether behind a layer or not, often not, it's critical for me to have the option, and I'm using it daily. Now the next one is a bit weird, so stay with me. I like having Vim keys as arrows everywhere. Beyond the fact that I don't have arrow keys on this board and don't want to take the dedicated keys for them, over the years I got used to the idea completely. The thing is that in order to set it, I used lots of stuff, like Better Touch Tool and other alternatives for those who know them. The first time I got a split configurable board, I said, F it, I'm doing it myself, and I did. But now I had a new set of problems. My control plus HJKL should change these keys to arrows, but this made configuration very complicated. So I created a layer, mid layer 4, triggered when control is held, where HJKL are arrows, and the rest of the keys are the same layer, but with a virtual control held next to them so that you get the wanted result. If you didn't get it, don't worry about it. What this did allow me though is a whole new set of options for my already large thumb cluster. I added combos to pop my terminal in my browser, change input language, and even create a macOS print screen that I use often. More about that in the end and how I set up all my apps to pop with my keyboard. You've also probably noticed the color coding for keys which you can configure yourself. So when I hit my 5th layer, for example, keys get lit with a color I picked, helping me and reminding me what shortcut is actually under the key. Lastly, you may have asked yourself, how do I pop the terminal or the browser with one key tap? I'll briefly say that this is all coming from Aerospace, my macOS tiling manager. And while there's a lot to say about it, let's keep it short and mention that it allows for many key combos hooked to all my daily used applications, allowing me to switch them instantly. There's exec and forget command, allowing me to ask macOS to open any app, like Ghosty, Obsidian, BrainFM, and others, all linked with Alt and one key shortcut. And while this is mostly enough, some applications here, like the browser and the terminal, are probably the two where I spend 80 or 90% of time. So I don't only want the combo set here, but rather I have my control layer on the keyboard set with one of my thumb cluster keys to call that combo directly. I could have gone further here, but this is really the essential, and I didn't want it to be this config for that specific board, because the ideas here can be ported anywhere. Plus, I was just offered by multiple brands to get their boards for testing, and I'd like to push the same setup there. Please tell me below if you're interested in more keyboard videos, as I don't do a lot of them. And while this is extremely specific and tailored around my use case, I got so many requests over the past couple of years to share this configuration that I've decided to just create a video around it. There's also a GitHub gist with this entire config in JSON. If you're really into it, just comment below. With that in mind, I do recommend checking out this video for Aerospace below. It's one of the best layers on my MacBook that, while isn't perfect, they also don't have any real competition and are a staple in my toolbox. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.